Sometimes an author's books are famous, but sometimes the author's life is the real mystery. This is the story of a woman who invented hundreds of murders, yet never solved the biggest mystery of all, her own. Her name is Agatha Christie. One winter evening, she left her house. Her car was found. Her clothes were inside, but she was gone. For 11 days, the whole country searched for her. Police, volunteers, newspapers. Everyone kept asking, "Where is Agatha Christie?" When she was finally found, under another name, living in a hotel, a new question appeared. Why did she disappear? Was it amnesia? Was it heartbreak? Or did the Queen of Crime step into her own detective story? If you're ready, the mystery begins. Agatha was born in England in 1890. She was a very quiet child. She had few friends. She taught herself how to read. At the age of 9, she wrote her first poem. She grew up surrounded by books at home. But there was something unusual about her. She was not afraid. From childhood, she was fascinated by the idea of death. Later, the roots of everything she would write came exactly from there. The war began. Agatha started working in a hospital as a nurse. There she learned two very important things: how poisons work, the true face of human fear. Later she admitted, "Half of my detective novels came from what I learned in the pharmacy." That is why the descriptions of poisons in her books are so detailed and accurate. When the war years ended, Agatha was no longer just a nurse. She left the hospital with knowledge about poisons, with memories of fear in people's eyes, and with a growing feeling inside her. "I have to write." But at that time, no one saw her as a writer. Even her own family thought writing was just a hobby. One day, her sister said a single sentence: "You could never write a detective novel." For someone else, it might have been a simple remark. For Agatha, it was a challenge. She didn't argue. She didn't raise her voice. She simply did one thing. She sat down and began to write. She created her own rules for a detective story. There must be a crime. It must be committed by an ordinary person. There must be enough clues for the reader to solve it. But the final answer must still be surprising. With those rules, she wrote her first novel, The Mysterious Affair at Styles. And for the first time, the world met a small, mustached man, a master of tiny details who solved crimes using his little gray cells, Hercule Poirot. At first, publishers rejected her. Some said, "Detective fiction is full. We don't need another one." But one publisher took the risk. The novel was printed, and something unexpected happened. Readers loved it. They followed every word Poirot said, every step he took. Agatha realized this was not just the success of one book. It was the opening of a new world. From that moment, she was no longer the woman who worked in a hospital. She had become a detective writer, but she also knew the truth. The first book is called Luck, the second is Proof, and the third becomes Destiny. Agatha did not stop. She wrote again and again, and with every page she carved her name into literary history. Fame is not always light. Sometimes its shadow grows even larger than the light itself. It was 1926. Agatha Christie was already a famous writer. Her books were selling, people recognized her name, but inside something was quietly cracking. The death of her mother, her husband's betrayal, exhaustion that would not go away, and the pressure of being the strong woman everyone expected. One evening, Agatha left her house and vanished. Her car was found by the roadside. Inside were her clothes and documents, but she was gone. Britain went into panic. Police began massive searches. Thousands of volunteers combed forests and riverbanks. Newspapers asked the same question: is Agatha Christie dead or hiding? Some said suicide. Some said publicity stunt. Some whispered research for a new novel. For 11 days she was missing. It was as if she had stepped straight into one of her own mysteries and disappeared into the fog. At last she was found, in a hotel, registered under another name, behaving as if she were a completely different person. Doctors said amnesia. Others said emotional shock. And some quietly wondered, did Agatha Christie just play the main role in her own detective story? Agatha never explained what truly happened. She refused to talk about it. She left the question open. Maybe that is why her books feel so haunting. She didn't just leave the mystery of crimes unsolved, she left her own life with a mystery too. And sometimes the most frightening thing is not the murderer, but the question that never receives an answer. Fame is not always light. Sometimes its shadow grows even larger than the light itself. It was 1926. Agatha Christie was already a famous writer. Her books were selling, people recognized her name, but inside something was quietly cracking. The death of her mother, her husband's betrayal, exhaustion that would not go away, and the pressure of being the strong woman everyone expected. One evening, Agatha left her house and vanished. Her car was found by the roadside. Inside were her clothes and documents, but she was gone. Britain went into panic. Police began massive searches. Thousands of volunteers combed forests and riverbanks. Newspapers asked the same question: is Agatha Christie dead or hiding? Some said suicide. Some said publicity stunt. Some whispered research for a new novel. For 11 days she was missing. It was as if she had stepped straight into one of her own mysteries and disappeared into the fog. At last she was found, in a hotel, registered under another name, behaving as if she were a completely different person. Doctors said amnesia. Others said emotional shock. And some quietly wondered, did Agatha Christie just play the main role in her own detective story? Agatha never explained what truly happened. She refused to talk about it. She left the question open. Maybe that is why her books feel so haunting. She didn't just leave the mystery of crimes unsolved. She left her own life with a mystery too. And sometimes the most frightening thing is not the murderer, but the question that never receives an answer. Fame throws a person into the light of applause, but sometimes that light becomes so bright that it drowns out a person's own voice. It was 1926. Agatha Christie was already a celebrated writer. Her name was in bookshops, newspapers, theater posters. Everyone wanted something from her. Another mystery, another clever murder, another perfect twist. But inside her, a silence was slowly growing, one only she could hear. Her mother had died. The man she loved had betrayed her. Exhaustion clung to her like a shadow, and everyone still expected her to be the strong woman. One evening, Agatha quietly left her house. She didn't say goodbye. She didn't leave a note. A door simply closed, and Agatha vanished. Her car was found the next morning, silent, abandoned, on the side of a lonely road. Her coat and papers were still inside, but she was gone. The headlights were dead. The wind moved the grass. The world held its breath. Britain fell into shock. Police organized massive search parties. Thousands of volunteers combed forests and riverbanks. No drones, no modern tracking, just lanterns, dogs, boots, and fear. Newspapers screamed in headlines, "Agatha Christie disappears. Suicide? Murder? Publicity stunt?" And people whispered something else. She has written about 100 murders. Perhaps now she has become a character herself. Days passed. Questions multiplied. Those 11 days stretched into eternity. Then the news came. Agatha was found. Not in a forest, not near a cliff, not by the sea. She was in a hotel, among music and laughter, registered under another name, as if she had stepped out of her own life and put on a different one. The questions flooded in. Why? How? What happened? Doctors said amnesia, loss of memory. Psychologists said severe emotional shock. And some critics whispered she entered one of her own stories. Agatha remained silent. She closed the subject. She never explained the truth. Maybe she told it. Maybe she hid it. Maybe she broke. Maybe she healed. We know only this. Those 11 days were not just a disappearance. They were the breaking point of a human being behind the legend. And perhaps that is why her novels feel so real. In them, the biggest question is not only who is the killer, it is, how does a person reach that edge? She revealed the secrets of crime, but she never revealed her own. And sometimes the darkest place in the world is not a crime scene, but the part of ourselves we never dare to explain. In Agatha Christie's novels, everything is clear. There is a crime, there are suspects, there are clues, And in the end, the truth is always revealed. But her personal life was nothing like that. Behind the curtain, she had a world that few people saw. Doubts, fears, pain born from love, and a sadness she rarely showed. She married her first husband, Archie Christie, in great love. But as her fame grew, the distance between them grew as well. One day, Archie chose another woman. For Agatha, this was not only betrayal, it was the shattering of her identity. To millions of readers, she was the queen of crime. But when the doors of her home closed, she was simply a hurt woman trying to understand herself. The strong female characters she created, Miss Marple and others, were sometimes shadows of the woman she wished she could be. Agatha spoke little. She hid her truths inside her books. Whenever someone asked her, "Where do you find your stories?" she would smile and say, "Just look at people. They tell everything themselves." This was her real secret. She did not simply write about murder. She shone a light into the dark rooms of the human soul. On the stage, she was a world-famous writer. Behind the stage, she was a woman who turned her pain into stories. At the end of her life, Agatha Christie proved something. Sometimes the greatest mystery is not the crime, but the human being. She misled, surprised, and challenged millions of readers. Yet she always kept one truth hidden: her own story. She became world famous. Her books sold in millions. They turned into films and plays. But she remained a quiet woman who rarely spoke about herself. Her characters died, truths were revealed, crimes were solved. But one question about Agatha still remains. Was she only a writer, or was she the greatest mystery she ever created? Perhaps that is why we still read her. Not just to solve murders, but to understand people. Agatha Christie is gone, but something remains in every book, a little mystery in every sentence, a little life, and in every reader, an unanswered question.